What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Now in this video I'm going to be covering a League of Legends champion, and if you watched my video on Saturday you'd know who this is. This champion is Sylas. So last Thursday I watched the one on Kindred, which was very good, and since then I got a lot of requests to watch various ones, and the one I decided to actually do is going to be Sylas. So it's going to be exactly the same form as what I did last week. I'm going to go through all his trailers, I'm going to go through his bio, I'm going to go through his spotlight, and I'm going to go through his voice lines as well. I'm going to timestamp every single one so you know which one to go to if you want to just pick a particular one out. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the champion trailer.
Honor. Justice. Tradition.
Ooh.
All shackles for the ignorant. After 15 years in the dark,
15. Wait.
I was illuminated.
Whoa.
I see a world without lords or peasants, where every Demacian is a king, where those who keep us in chains have their power ripped from their grasp. Rise up, brothers and sisters. Whatever they bring, we'll match it. Crush the oppressors. Claim your birthright. And burn their kingdom to the ground.
Mad.
All we need to start the fire is a single spark.
Okay, good. Right, so let me see if that's the end. That's cool. Right, okay, so the crazy thing is, he's been in prison for 15 years. Wow. And I like how it shows that when he breaks out, he still has the chains on. He uses, obviously, the chains. That's part of his ability. And I like how it shows that as well, because it's not like he's removed the chains. The chains there are a constant reminder that he was shackled at one point, and he now is unshackled. So, yeah, really good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get into, I think there's one more small video I'm going to watch, and then I'm going to get into the bio. And hopefully that should build out a little bit more of my understanding of the character Sylas, why he's in prison in the first place. And it looks like obviously he's got some special abilities as well. It looks like he can kind of use magic as well. So I'm sure in the bio that might explain it out a little bit more. So yeah, let's get into the next one.
Demacia was not built on a dream. Demacia was built on a lie. All those noble ideals and promises of a brighter future, they were never meant for the likes of us.
Whoa, prison.
We have been stripped of our freedom, our dignity, our very lives. I say no more. Mages of Demacia, the day has come. It's time we fight back.
Let's go. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so that nice it ties up or sets up the bio now, doesn't it, as well? But I like in this video, this 30-second video, how it's showing how Sylas is trying to expose the hypocrisy of Demacia. Demacia is viewed as in a certain way and wants to be viewed in that way, but underneath it there's actually certain things that are going on that aren't very nice, let's put it that way. And also, it looks like they obviously don't like mages, anyone that can use magic. Which is kind of ironic really, because I think in the 2020 cinematic, right at the end, I think she's called Lux, who is one of the royalty in Demacia. She uses magic. So it's ironic that she has to use magic to save them, when that's the thing that obviously they outlaw. But anyway, yeah, let's get into the bio now of Sylas. Right, Sylas unshackled. Right, this is a cool image as well. Clearly it looks like, doesn't it, this is like the last scene of the first video where he said all I need is a spark. And obviously he's got that spark, he's burst out of prison now. I like how it obviously shows here this woman here who's obviously another person that's in prison that's trying to get out as well. And I love his face as well. His face is almost like saying, now I'm out of prison, now I'm about to, you know what I mean, now I'm about to wreck some people. Now I'm about to destroy some people. But anyway, yeah, let's get into the bio. So it says here, As a mage born to a poor Demacian family, Sylas of Dregborn was perhaps doomed from the start. Despite their low social standing, his parents were firm believers in their country's ideals. So when they discovered that their son was afflicted with magical abilities, they convinced him to turn himself into the kingdom's mage seekers. Noting the boy's curious ability to sense magic, they used Sylas to identify other mages living around the citizenry. Alright, that's pretty dark, isn't it? They're using him to hunt other people to put in prison. For the first time in his life, he felt he had a future, a sense of service to his country, and he performed these duties faithfully. He was proud but lonely, forbidden from associating with anyone but his handlers. Sounds like a dog handler. Wow. Through his work, Sylas began to notice that magic was far more prevalent than Demacia cared to admit. And this is the hypocrisy I'm presuming he started to see. He could sense glimmers of hidden power even among the wealthy and prominent looks, some of whom were the most outspoken decriers of mages. But while the poor were punishers for the afflictions, the elite seemed above the law. And this hypocrisy planted the first seeds of doubt in Sylas's mind. Yeah, okay, you can see why, can't you? Those doubts finally bloomed into one deadly, fateful event, when Sylas and his handlers encountered a mage living in hiding in the countryside. After discovering it was only a young girl, Sylas took pity on her. When he tried to shield a child from the mage seekers, he accidentally brushed against her skin. The girl's magic rushed through Sylas's body, but rather than killing him, it shot forth from his hands in raw, uncontrollable bursts. It was a talent he did not know he possessed, and it resulted in the death of 3 people, including his mage seeker mentor. Tough. Knowing he would be called a murderer, Sylas went on the run and quickly gained notoriety I think it's as one of the most dangerous mages in Demacia. Indeed, when the mage seekers found him, they showed no mercy. Though he was still a youth, Sylas was sentenced to life in prison. Wow, okay, a bit harsh. He languished in the darkest depths of the mage seeker compound, forced to wear heavy shackles of magic dampening perticite. Robbed of his arcane sight, his heart turned as hard as the stone that bound him, and he dreamed of vengeance on all who had put him there. After 15 wretched years, which is obviously what I mentioned in the first video, a young volunteer from the Illuminators named Luxana began to visit him. Now I think she's one of the royalty. Even with his shackles, Sylas recognised her as a singularly powerful mage, and over time the two formed an unusual and secretive bond. In exchange for Sylas's knowledge of the control of magic, Lux educated him about the world outside his cell, and brought him whatever books he desired. Eventually, through careful manipulation, he convinced the girl to smuggle a forbidden tome into his cell. The original writings of the great sculptor Durand detail his work with pericite. The work revealed the secrets of the stone to Sylas. It was the foundation of Demacia's defences against harmful sorcery, but he came to see that it did not suppress magic, but absorb it. And if that power was held within the pericite, Sylas wondered, could it be released? So maybe that's what he's saying when he said all it needs is a spark. But she never visited Sylas again. Her family, the immensely powerful Crown Guards, had learned of their contact and were furious that Lux had broken the law to help this vile criminal. Without explanation, it was arranged for Sylas to be executed. On the scaffold, Lux pleaded for her friend's life, but her cries fell on deaf ears. As the headman pushed past her to raise his sword, Sylas managed to touch Lux. As he had predicted, her power surged into the pericite shackles, ready for him to unleash, and with that stolen magic, Sylas blasted his way free, sparing only the terrified young Crown Guard. He left the Mage Seeker compound not as an outcast, but as a new defiant symbol of the broken and persecuted in Demacia. So he's basically the symbol in it. He's kind of like the symbol. What's the word? He's kind of like the mascot for obviously all these persecuted people in Demacia. While travelling the kingdom in secret, he amassed a following of exiled mages. Okay, however, perhaps he always knew that even their combined power would not be enough to succeed in toppling the throne. Which is why, with a band of his closest followers and several hardy oxen, Sylas eventually journeyed over to the northern mountains to the frozen tundra of the Fjord. There he seeks new allies and the great elemental magic of ancient legend, so that he might return to Demacia and demolish the oppressive system that has made him and his fellow mages suffer for so long. Wow. Okay, that's really good. I don't know, when I'm reading that last part, it's really reminded me of the opening scene in Warriors 2020 cinematic. And in that opening scene, obviously, it is kind of mystic. It is, I'm sure, people from the Free Order as well. He's got his army that come in. And when you're viewing it for the first time, or at least someone like me that's viewing it for the first time, that doesn't know his bio and his backstory, he looks like the villain. He looks like the bad guy. But after reading this, he's the bad guy. He's actually the good guy. All he wants to do is actually stop oppression. He wants everyone to have equal rights, in essence, and not to be actually judged and or killed and imprisoned just because you're a mage that has special abilities. Particularly when other people that are within Demacia, like Lux and people like her, have it and don't get the same penalty. So yeah, he just wants equality. So yeah, he's the good guy. He's the good guy in this one. So what I'm going to do now is, in fact, before I get into his voice lines and his spotlight, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to decide now which character I'm going to go for next week. I'm just going to decide now. Let me go onto the map. I'm just going to decide now. So I've got a few characters that have been heavily requested. Let's go. Cool. Oh, okay. Oh, I like this. This is good. So it's nice to actually see all the different regions as well. And then it shows each character, doesn't it? Or the characters at least. Yeah. Right, okay, so who shall I choose? Let me think now. Let me go with Shadow Isles. I'll choose one character each week from a different one. So let me think now. I'm going to go with... okay, let's go with Bilgewater. Let's go Bilgewater. So if I go to Bilgewater, learn more about Bilgewater. Cool. Let me see the characters, or the champions. Right. View all Bilgewater champions. Oh, they all look cool, don't they? I like this guy. I like Graves. I really do. Misfortune was in that video as well. Twisted Fate. Pike. Right. So, and this guy as well. These are the two have been quite heavily requested. So I am going to go with Pike. Yeah. So Pike will be next Thursday. That is what I'm going to do next. I could go go in and explore now, but I'm going to leave it. Pike will be next Thursday. So let's get back into Sylas. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is I am going to go through his voice lines, and then I'm going to get into his spotlight.
Once you've seen the truth, you can't keep living the lie. I was born a mage. Demacia made me a criminal. They always said I was a monster. Oh, the irony. Villainy never knows itself. What can they do to me that they have not done? I used to be locked up, but I didn't care for it. You can't cage me for long. It took prison for me to find liberation.
Wow.
I died many deaths in my cell. Breaking out was nothing. Watch me break a kingdom. Even death cannot chain me. Good, evil, what does any of that even mean? A man who seeks control is a man who needs to die. They locked up a boy, but let loose a killer.
Woo. So true though, isn't it, as well? Like, they locked him up, and that was their biggest mistake, because like you said there, he died many deaths in that prison. He had time to think about all the mistakes that he made, all the mistakes that they made, and more importantly, the irony. He saw the hypocrisy of what was going on. He was in a prime position to see that as well, because he was used by the Mage Seekers. And one other thing I do like as well is I like it shows at the beginning it's all dark, and then it comes to light, and then you see him, don't you? You see him break obviously these chains as well, but at the same time keeping some of them on as kind of like a remembrance of where he's come from. Yeah.
I'm no stranger to shadows. After 15 years in the dark, I was illuminated. I will be the monster they think I am. I am no traitor. I am the true Demacia. I will show them a world without lords or peasants. Look at all those good little cogs, unaware of the wheel they turn.
Deep. Okay.
Swine and sheep, that's all they are. They work their fingers to the bone, serving a king they'll never meet. I must show them there is more to life. Let me help you think for yourself. I do not kneel. See the remnants of my bondage, and know you can be free.
Yeah, so that's what I like. Like he says there, see the remnants of my bondage and know you can be free. I like how that makes up his design. He has these shackles, these broken shackles still on him, and he's got no interest in taking them off, because it shows him and other people that you can be free from, obviously, all the restraints, physically and also mentally, from Demacia. So,
question authority, then slit its throat.
Okay.
I serve no one. Join me or die.
Okay,
we will rip the power from their cold, dead fists. Might is wasted on the mighty. Smash the throne! Bring it all down! The bluer the blood, the sweeter it spills. Heads will roll. Embrace the chaos. From the rubble, true order will be born. No more cages. No more masters. No more slums. No more dungeons. The crown is alive! There is no king! Time to take what's ours! As long as I draw breath, so does the revolution.
Yeah. That's what he is.
That which restrains us begs to be broken. Tradition is a crutch for the mindless. Time to watch it burn. It will be brother against brother, father against son. Noxian swine, Demacian swine. They'll all end up at the slaughter. This rebellion just got wings. Time for the kings to bow. Wake up! They can't hang us all. Unshackle your mind. This is the truth.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. It's not just the unshackling physically, it's the unshackling mentally. Obviously, these, the superstitions, the dogma that obviously that Demacia put out isn't necessarily correct and true, and he obviously is there to challenge that, and I like that. Also, I pause here because I really do like the music. The music, actually, like every single League of Legends music video, login theme, login screen, or anything like that, the music is absolutely on point, and it perfectly fits with each character, and this one is another good example of that. The one for Sylas really works.
Every Demacian a king.
Okay.
I've got your justice. A crown for everyone. A true symbol of our nation. Rise up, brothers and sisters! Topple the hierarchy! Free Demacia! Behold the true order! Chains build revolutions, one link at a time. Those who wait to be freed do not deserve freedom. Spread my words.
Oh, that's probably my favourite one so far. Let me go back.
One link at a time. Those who wait to be freed do not deserve freedom.
Wow.
Spread my words.
And the music as well.
Magic is rising. Such magic should never be bound. The mage shall inherit the earth. Ouch!
Nice playing words there, isn't it? Instead of the meek shall inherit the earth, the mage. I like that.
Show you magic. Onwards, brothers and sisters. The great mage rebellion starts now. Whatever they bring, I'll match it. My streets! You think you're better than me? A shepherd with no flock is just an idiot with a stick. Run, sheep, run!
That's good.
Return to your master, like the lapdog you are. Die with your lords! You're part of the problem! Face what you've made! Our chains are only as strong as we think they are. Hurts, doesn't it? Sweet liberation! And that's how we slaughter swine. Do your walls keep others out? Or you in? Idols are made to be desecrated. Every light casts a shadow. You raise walls, I destroy them. How beautiful a world is without walls. Bad news, Your Highness. It's time to end your bloodline.
Savage.
Mages, unite! Do not allow them peace! Long live the rebellion!
So, who wants to kill the king?
Yeah, that's a fitting end. That's a fitting end to his voice lines. Wow, that's really good. Really good. So the crazy thing about that as well is that Demacia made him. There's no two ways about it. Demacia made Sylas in how they treat him as a youth, what he saw when he was working with the Mage Seekers, and then how they treat him when they put him in prison. And then when they got there was an inkling that he might escape or he might build up some kind of relationship with someone outside, which was Lux, they decided to kill him. So everything they've done has made him into the character he is obviously today as well, which is kind of ironic because obviously he's their biggest threat to their hierarchy as well. So yeah, really good. And my favourite, I think I already mentioned it before, let me find it again though, my favourite voice line. Yeah, so this is my favourite quote actually.
Those who wait to be freed do not deserve freedom.
Yeah, I like that. So basically what he's saying then, it's so true, it's action. You know, everybody that was oppressed, everybody that was a slave, when they took action, that's the only way they're going to be free. The slave masters aren't going to go, do you know what, go on then, well, go on, there's your freedom. You have to take the action on yourself. You have to do something about it. And obviously that's something that Sylas has done as well. So I really do like that line. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on to the spotlight for Sylas.
A prisoner turned revolutionary, Sylas is ready to seize the enemy's power, then break them with it. He's a mage who prefers to beat down opponents up close, stringing together a series of powerful strikes and bringing foes to their knees with their own ultimates.
You're part of the problem!
It's time for a revolution. Welcome to the Sylas Champion Spotlight.
Let's go.
Sylas uses his Q to lash out with his chains, damaging and slowing enemies. After a brief delay, the intersection of the chain lash detonates, applying an increased slow and damaging enemies again. The best way to overpower enemies is with his W, Kingslayer. Sylas lunges at a target with a powerful strike, damaging them and healing himself. If the enemy's at low health, the damage is increased.
Wow.
If Sylas is at low health, the heal is increased. It's an extremely powerful finishing tool to end any champion's reign. Sylas has a two-part E ability. With Abscond, Sylas dashes a short distance and shields himself. For a short time after, he can recast the ability as Abduct to whip out his chains, stunning, damaging, and pulling himself to the first enemy hit. Sylas' passive is a whirling chain effect that happens whenever he attacks after using an ability, kinda like Sheen. To make the most of this Petrocite burst, pummel enemies every chance you get. Link together basic attacks between each spell cast, and whiplash to rack up the shack kills.
Time for the kings to bow.
Sylas is here for revolution, and he will use his enemies' powers against them, literally. His ultimate hijacks an enemy's ult for his own use, which Sylas can then hold on to and cast exactly as if he were that champion.
Never.
Sylas can take an enemy's ultimate whenever hijack is ready. Even if that ability is on cooldown, he has to wait to steal from the same target again.
Okay.
How long before he can hijack them again is roughly determined by their ultimate's base cooldown.
Let's use that spark to light a fire.
Right, and that line there, doesn't it? Let's use that spark to light a fire. That ties in with the initial video where he used obviously some of Lux's energy to be able to escape. And also when he was going to be killed as well, he touched her to be able to use, I'm sure, his ultimate ability, hijack, to be able to break the shackles as well. So I like obviously how that transfers over to the game in his ultimate here.
His talent for Grand Theft Ulto means Sylas gets max charges on champs with ammo.
I actually feel cheated.
And completely changes into champions that have a transform ability.
Whoa!
No matter what their ultimate does, Sylas will find a way to use and abuse it.
Wow.
By late game, his low cooldown lets him take multiple ultimates in quick succession, as long as they're from different enemies. Here he snags Rumble's equalizer to even the odds at the Baron Pit. Unfortunately, he whiffs on Syndra, but he still gets the side last hit to finish her off. He's not done yet though. With Alistair's ult, the Unshackled becomes the Unbreakable, leaping back into the fight to turn Steer into Steak. Move, chick. get out the way. Each situation calls for a different strategy. Sometimes it's best to take an ult that helps out your comrades or has a big impact on team fights. Other times, you just need a single finishing move like Last Caress to whip a single foe. Gnarly. Sylas's ult makes him a hijack of all trades, so no matter what you find yourself up against, if you play smart, you can beat champs with their own game and kick their ass.
I'll give it back.
Wow.
With Sylas, no fight plays out the same way twice. While he defaults to a bruiser play pattern, his ult-stealing potential means every skirmish brings something new. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Make the most of what's available and turn your enemy's power into their demise.
Die with your lords!
If you want a magical bruiser that wins with brain and brawn, join up with Sylas and start an insurrection. For more info on the Unshackled, break out to the links below.
Wow, that is mad. That I can't get over his ultimate. That final ability must be an absolute nightmare to play against. How do you plan to play against someone? A good Sylas player, I don't know how you actually counter, because like you said there, he's going to be able to use everybody else's ultimate against them. Wow, that's deep. And I really like how it shows that obviously his abilities kind of revolve around his chains. I mentioned before that the chains, he's in essence unshackled, but he still uses these chains to damage. It's not like he's removed the chains and he's forgotten about his past. It's almost a reminder of the fact that he was at one point chained. So I like how that ties in. So before I actually wrap it up here today, guys, one other thing I'm going to watch is a recommendation of a quick video on Sylas called Dev's Doodles Sylas. So this, I think, is going to go into a little bit more of detail about his abilities and the fact that he doesn't technically have an ultimate as well. So let's get into this one.
So players bring up stealing ultimates as a champion ability a lot. It's something that I think is pretty common as a obvious thing that League of Legends is missing that's really cool, but tech-wise we've never really been able to do it. When I told people that I was going to be working on Sylas, everybody was sort of,
there's no way. There's just no way that we can make this work.
You know, like anything we did in the past, we'll have to redo everything because these characters were created without expecting their spells to be shared.
there's significant problems that can arise that make it so that Sylas couldn't have access to their spell.
So one of the very first things that we did, we set out goals for what we want to hit. One of those goals was we will not make development on League of Legends any harder because Sylas exists in the game.
Like, oh, I have to check this box or else there's a bug with Sylas. Or if every test plan of every character you make has to say, oh, don't forget to test Sylas, like that's a failure. We've created more overall work for making content.
We sat down in a room and for every character, we listed out exactly what we expected for that ultimate to do when Sylas takes it.
And we argued about it too.
That's
so
a lot.
Example,
That's a lot.
Fiora.
Fiora just says all of her passive works. If we give just the R to Sylas, clearly nothing is going to happen.
Fiora should do more than put a circle around them.
So we said, as a player, if I take Fiora's ultimate, I expect to interact with all of the vitals just as Fiora would.
So that means we need some way to attach this buff to that spell.
So I think 97 out of the 141 characters that are currently in the game required some level of spell refactoring.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
There's like one class of characters that, as a whole, was particularly troublesome, or we came to call them Transformers.
There's the obvious ones like Nidalee, Elise.
Karma, Jace, Heimerdinger, Shyvana.
So holistically, they completely replace all of their abilities.
We don't want Sylas to just cast one spell as Nidalee or Jace. So instead for those, you become Jace or Nidalee or Elise.
And your Q, W, and E are now different.
Wow. Okay.
That comes with its own set of problems where it's like, okay, now you have to make sure that not only do the ultimates work, now every spell that that character comes with has to work as well.
Yeah.
However, Jace is even farther along in that.
Jace switches between hammer and gun form. That's what his ultimate does. And Jace expects to go from hammer to ranged to hammer to ranged. Sylas goes from not Jace to ranged and then back to not Jace. which is not Hammer form Jace. And then when he's no longer Jace and he's Sylas again, he has to put his kit back together.
And that's with all the Transformers. When Sylas turns away from being them again, we have to make sure that he doesn't keep their spells, which would be awful. What we had to do is go back through all these champions and update them to newer standards.
We've learned a lot about better ways to put things together, and things are easier to fix for the future. Some things are very much easier to make.
While it does have pretty insane technical challenges to overcome,
That's
I
good.
really think that this project will open doors for the rest of our design team. Very much in the past, it's been, I have this crazy harebrained idea, there's no way we can make that work. But here we are, doing the crazy harebrained idea, and I think it really does shift our mentality in the earlier phases to, let's push these constraints more and see what sort of crazy things that we can actually deliver through our champions.
Wow. Wow. No, that was really good. That was really good. And I didn't, obviously, until watching this, appreciate the amount of effort and coding or recoding that was required for something that sounds kind of simple, doesn't it? His ultimate is he takes someone else's ultimate. It sounds, on the front of it sounds quite simple, but clearly, obviously, it's so detailed. But I really love the animation. The animation throughout this was so enjoyable to watch. And yeah, really good to see, obviously, the background work that's required to do something. Yeah, like I said, something that seems so simple. So yeah, hopefully you guys, it's probably about 30 minutes long, this video. Hopefully you guys are still here. Hopefully you've enjoyed actually all the videos I've done and the bio. And if you did, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like, comment, and maybe also subscribe for more content like this. I will be covering a character every single Thursday. So next Thursday champion is going to be Pike. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.